Alright, so I've been meaning to do this for quite some time, and today's the day. So, I was making a list the other day about all the game I've played to completion. And by completion, what I mean is seeing the end credit of the game. I'm not talking about getting all the achievements or stuff like that. But anyway, I was making that list, and yeah, there's quite a few games. I've played quite a bit of games in 2022, and I thought that for my last video of the year, because I hope this video will be released on December 23rd. Sorry, I got sick and I'm not 100% back yet. But anyway, I hope it'll be released on December 23rd, just before Christmas, and that's going to be my last video for this year. So at the end of the video, I'm gonna give you all my holiday wishes and New Year's, wishes and hopes. But for now, let's talk about the game I've completed in 2022. I tried to make some categories, but I think they suck. I'm gonna try, but yeah, it's gonna be messy. It's Friday night. I'm drinking some whiskey, so we'll see how this video ends up to be. Like, right now, I have no idea what background I will give you for the intro. For the games, I'm gonna put some gameplay, but yeah, I don't know. So, if you're still here, even with that messy intro, let's get started with the first category. Okay, so the first category is JRPG, and I've played only one JRPG to completion at least. And it's Tales of Vesperia. It's funny because it's a game I've bought way back when I had an Xbox, and I've played it for a bit and didn't enjoy it at all. Never ended up finishing it. And at some point in 2022, I went to my local game shop, and there was the remastered version for the PS4, and it was like $15. And yeah, I was feeling in the mood for some Tales of games, so picked it up, and to my biggest surprise, I really enjoyed it. The protagonist, Yuri, is quite a fantastic one, kind of the anti-hero type of stuff, and throughout the game he needs to take some quite serious decisions, and I really enjoyed the story of the game. The combat was fun. The last part of the game is kind of divided in 3 acts. I won't spoil anything. I might have to edit some stuff because I'm still coughing a bit. But yeah, the game is in 3 acts. 3 acts, and the last one is kind of meh, because throughout the game you kind of follow one very specific narrative stuff, and it kind of fall apart at the end, and you get into something else completely. And I thought it was weird, but I still enjoyed the game a great deal, and definitely recommend it. It's in my top 3 Tales of games. My favorite one being Tales of Legendia, but I think I'm the only one in the world that likes Legendia. So yeah. But anyway, that was. Oh, I wanted to. I'm looking at my notes. It's gonna be messy, I'm telling you. Took me like 35 hours to beat. So yeah, just wanted to add that to the conversation. Great game. So this was my JRPG of the year. Alright, so next category, I only have one game too in it, and it's, Western RPG. Traditional turn-based stuff. And the game I've completed this year in this category is Queen's Wish the Conqueror. It's a game by Spiderweb Software, and they're the one behind Avernum and Abaddon series. It's actually pretty much one dude, which is Jeff Vogel. He's making those very, very old school, classic CRPG games in this not that far from Baldur's Gate or Ultima. You have a party of 4, and you go on quest, battle monsters in a turn-based format, and the game really revolves around the narrative and the story. And I really enjoyed it. Took me like 30 hours. Played that on easy mode because I'm really bad at those old school RPG game. I always have trouble to synergize the all the skills of every party member. But anyway, this one was really fun. Played that on my phone, so mostly played it on my lunch break and bus rides. But the story was super fun to follow. You always had many ways to solve your problems. Sometimes, you could choose to fight, but sometimes you could choose to talk it out. And it was pretty fun. There was a few endings. I got what I feel is like the normal ending, but there is a better ending if you're good enough to fight the last part instead of just talking it out. So highly recommend Queen's Wish. It was really fun. The second game just came out, like in October, and bought it, played it just a little bit, but I wasn't onto some other games, and it's gonna certainly be a 2023 game I will play. Really like the Spiderweb Software games. So that was it for my traditional RPG game this year. Let's go to the next category. Alright, so in this category, which I called Action, I've put 3 games. So let's do it. The first game I've played to completion, and I've played quite some time. Quite a few times, and I've played on New Game Plus. I did a lot of run of this, and it's Bastion. Played it both on my phone, the mobile version, but I've played on my PS4 too, and it was quite interesting to see there was some differences between the version. But I'm getting ahead of myself here, and I told you it's gonna be messy. But Bastion is the first game developed by Supergiant Games, which are the people behind Hades. This is the first game they made. It was a little indie, well, it's still a little indie company in some ways, but when they started out, I was watching a documentary on Bastion. It was pretty much like 4 people in a basement making this game, and it's really a good action game. The gameplay is really, really fun, and what makes the game really stands out is the narration. Throughout all the games, there is this dude narrating everything you do, everything that happens, telling you the story, and it's presented in such a way. It's really a fantastic game. Probably my top, well, it's hard to say, like top 15 games of all time. I really enjoyed it, and I first played it on mobile, and it was a lot of fun. but then it was on sale on PS4, so I bought it there to play on the big screen. And I was surprised to see a few differences, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't take notes, so I can't remember them all, but one I really remember was that on mobile you can just, press the attack button and just hold it. I've played with a controller, and you're gonna attack all the time. On PS4 you really had to press every time you attack, which changed the way you play quite a bit. Sorry. And if I remember correctly, I think there's a different weapon. On PS4 there's a weapon that you don't have on mobile, or... Oh no, on mobile you get the... you first start with the bow, and I think that on PS4 you get the gun, because there's a bunch of different weapons you can have. And so, anyway, Bastion was a great game, highly recommended, quite fantastic. So the other action game I've played is Ninja Gaiden Sigma. I've played it way back when on my Xbox, pretty much around the same time I've tried Tales of Vesperia. And then I've played it on my PlayStation Vita quite a bit. And then they released the Master Collection, and in that you have Ninja Gaiden Sigma, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, and Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge. And I'll be honest, I've played Ninja Gaiden 2, but I really like the first one the best. Never played 3. Not really interested, to be perfectly honest with you, but I've replayed that, worked a bit on my gameplay to be a bit more, could I say, technical, listening to the advice of JTB, which is a fantastic Ninja Gaiden player, and yeah, I've been enjoying that quite a bit. Only played it once or twice. Nothing crazy, but I've played that. And then the last one for this category is a game I've played very recently, like last week actually, and it's Afterplace. Afterplace is a mobile game that you play in portrait mode, and it's kind of like Zelda, but also kind of like an open world exploration thing, full of secrets. And when you get a new game, start playing, and you immediately fall in love with it. You fall in love with everything the game is giving you, and this is one of those times. Took me like almost 10 hours to beat, and I beat it in the day after I bought it. On the span of 2 days, I couldn't do anything else but play Afterplace, trying to find the secrets, talk to every NPCs, because the NPCs have a lot to say. They really do, and they're fun. They're charming. It's such a good game, and people need to play this, and they need to talk about it more. There's nothing on YouTube right now about Afterplace, and well, I've made like a first look video where I don't even talk because I was too sick, and then I made a little tutorial of how to find a place that is kind of well hidden. It's not impossible to find, but I thought, hey, I don't want people to drop the game because they can't find this place, so I did that. But there's no reviews, there's nothing, and I mean I will do some stuff, but I have a very small channel, so I really hope somebody with some kind of reach will cover the game, because it's made by one person, and it's a really good, really fantastic game. Highly recommend it. So that was the 3 action game I've played. Let's go see the next category. Okay, so I've called this category Others because it's games that I don't know where to put them, or you'll see. There's 5 games. So the first one is Journey. Journey is made by That Game Company, and it's how can I say? It's quite linear, but you can explore. There's no combat. You walk around, and the game is telling you a story through environments and small little cutscenes. It's kind of a contemplative game, if that makes sense. I really enjoyed it. Played it on stream. Actually, took me like 2 hours to beat it, and it's pretty cool because you can meet people. It's kind of an online game in a way. You can play offline, but if online is activated, you can meet people and they can help you and show you the way and show you how it works through, just showing you. You cannot talk, as far as I know, but it was a great experience. Happy I've played it. I don't think I would play this like many times, but I quite enjoyed it. The music was great. That I remember. The music was really nice. It's the same team that is behind Sky, Children of Light. It's available on pretty much everything, and I've played that for quite some time, like last year or even the year before, on my phone. And they're a great company. They're making experiences, very emotional games. They tell a story through music and visuals, and yeah. Journey was great. I'll leave a link to my playthrough on the description, in the description of the video, so if you're curious about how it went when I've played it, you can go watch it. Next is Before Your Eyes. So this is a Netflix game. I mean, you can buy it on Steam, I think, but I've played it on my phone through Netflix games. I don't personally have a Netflix subscription, as I watch very little TV shows, but my wife does. And I was looking at the catalog of Netflix games, and I've seen that. And I was like, oh, I want to try this. I've heard of it. It's the game that when you need to give the game access to your camera on your phone, but when you blink, the story moves forward, and it's very weird. It's a narrative games. It's definitely about the story. There's not much of gameplay. There's a little bit, but it's not about pressing buttons. It's about being told a story. And yeah, the way it works is you start very young. Well, you start, you're kind of dead, actually, and you're on your way to go to, well, quote-unquote heaven, and your life is told, well, before your eyes. And so then you go back and you start as a baby up until you die. And every time you blink, the scene moves forward. Sometimes it's like 10 minutes, sometimes it can be 5 years. So when you're into a scene where there's something being told, you really want to know what's gonna happen, what are the characters gonna say. And so you try not to blink, and then your eyes get all watery and dry, and I think it's not super healthy as a game. It was, it was great. It was a great experience, but I would not like it to be a trend. Um, but anyway, and so when you blink, the story moves forward, and it was a very good story. Really enjoyed it. I won't spoil anything, but if you want to be told a very strong story, try and get your hands on Before Your Eyes. It's definitely worth it. Okay, so now the next game is To the Moon. To the Moon is a game made in RPG Maker. It's a small game that looks like kind of cheap, kind of I don't know how to say, like a little game, and it actually tells you a super deep story. And not only is it a deep story, but the characters are very funny, the dialogue are fantastic. It's kind of a visual novel where you move your characters around. And so I got it on sale for my phone, like for $2. I've heard about this game a few times, and I've been meaning to get my hands on it. And when it got on sale, well, I took a chance, and I really enjoyed it. There's a playthrough on my channel. Gonna put a link in the description if I can remember to do it, but it's without commentary. I just, recorded the screen. But it's quite a good story. Really enjoyed it. Don't have anything else to say, I think, about that. It was just a good story with good characters. The surprise was that the game looks, kind of like a little game, and it's actually very, very good. The next one is Assemble with Care. So this is a small game. It takes like 2 hours to get through. It's on Apple Arcade, and took a chance, downloaded it, streamed it actually, and it was pretty fun. It's the story of a girl that gets on an island. I can't remember why, but she goes there to work at repairing stuff. So you get to meet the inhabitants of the island, and you repair their stuff, like a neon sign or a little portable console, gaming console, stuff like that. And you have your little tool, and you repair stuff, and it was a super relaxing game. The story was alright, but nothing to write home about. But it was all voice acted, so that was pretty nice. But yeah, this is a game I've played through completion. Not, nothing that exciting, but it gave me a relaxing evening. We'll say it that way. Now, just before we talk about the last one in this category, I want to say that the Game Awards are a joke, and it's definitely tied to my next game, which is Stray, the cat game. So this was a contender for Game of the Year with Elden Ring and, I don't know, God of War. Nothing against cat, nothing against indie games. They're my actually favorite type of games. But yeah, I've played it through completion, saw the end credits, and no, it's not, it's not a Game of the Year. Now that said, it was very well done, and what was special for me with Stray is that I've played it with my daughter, my 6-year-old daughter. we've played that together. She was doing the meowing and the scratching and the moving around. She was controlling the cats when it was just going from place to place, and I was doing the more actiony part of the game. I don't want to spoil too much, but sometimes you kind of have to be agile. And I was doing those parts, and I was reading the dialogue of the different NPCs you meet throughout the way. And she was really into it. She loved Stray. And she was, she was telling me like about all the NPCs when it was time to go to bed. And she was, at some point she was talking with my mother-in-law on the phone, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm playing this cat game, and then we met Clementine and Seamus, and we had to find this helmet and this this type of clothes to get into that place, and to get that we had to do this and to do that." And she was really into it. Took us like 6 hours to beat throughout like a week, 45 minutes at a time pretty much. But I loved it, and I loved it because of the person I've played with. Those are fun memories. We're gonna both remember Stray for quite some times. Beautiful game, really. It looked great. It was fun to control the cat. Just it's not a game of the year. It's a fun game. That's what Stray is. It was a fun game. Quirky games. It's not every day that you can play as a cat with some type of realism, and I've put realism, quote unquote, but yeah, super fun game. It's definitely part of my highlights of this year in gaming, because I've played it with my daughter. It was a lot of fun. It's just that when the game ended, I was like, yeah, really? A game of the year? I mean, yeah, man, not sure about that. But anyway, that's all I had to say about Stray. Alright, now we're getting into some serious stuff, because it's what I've called horror games / narrative games. This year is the year where I discovered Supermassive Games as a company. They're the one behind Until Dawn, the Quarry, the Dark Pictures anthology. They just released The Devil in Me like 2 weeks ago. Well, 3 weeks ago when you're gonna listen to this, but they're doing those types of games that are not that far from a visual novels, but you play them. But there are games where it's kind of choose your own adventures. You're gonna make choices. Do you go left? Do you go right? Do you hide under the table, or do you run for your life? Do you try to attack the enemy? But I've played Until Dawn, and I was in awe for this game. I loved it. I really, really loved Until Dawn. Such a good game. Played it like 2 times, once by myself, and I streamed the second playthrough I've made. Gonna link that once again, but it was so good. The characters are well written. I love them. Samantha is the best character, of course. But man, I loved Until Dawn. And so right after I've played that, because I've played it like 5 years late. It released, 7 years actually. It released in 2015. the Quarry was just released. It was released this year. So I've played the Quarry and I enjoyed it greatly. Not as much as Until Dawn. I've made a video about that. It's called like Until Dawn versus the Quarry, where I talk about all of that in detail, but I felt the Quarry was a little bit of a step back from Until Dawn, and it was weird to see. I mean, I've played it on a base PS4, so maybe it's on my end, but I thought that visually Until Dawn looked kind of better. The animation of the characters, I felt it was better, so I don't know, but sorry, but I still enjoyed it quite a bit, and then I wanted more, and I've discovered that they've made what they call the Dark Pictures Anthology. There was 3 titles released already. So I've played Man of Medan, enjoyed it. I've played Little Hope, enjoyed it quite a bit less. Didn't quite vibe with Little Hope, but anyway. And I've played House of Ashes. I actually streamed House of Ashes, and I really liked all of those games, really. Supermassive games, man. They're literally making supermassive games. It's so good. And after each game there's some bonus materials where you can see how they made the game. And it's very impressive to see real actors playing the roles of all of those characters. It's really nice. Really enjoy those games. I've played everything they had released, and in 2023 I'm gonna play The Devil in Me. It's a given, because I really like those games. It's kind of an interactive movie where you make choices, people die, and then you can replay it and try to save more people, or try to kill them all if that's your thing. But yeah, I've played that a lot this year. Now, kind of in the same vein and kind of not, I've played a game that was made available to me through Netflix games once again, and it's Oxenfree. So Oxenfree is kind of like the Supermassive games, as you make decisions, and it's a story that's told to you with all the voice acting and stuff, but it's in side-scroller format. It's kind of in 2D, and well, 2D. It's not really 2D, but you're seeing the footage on the screen. You get what I mean. And I played that on my phone. Played that 2 times, once by myself and once on stream, and it was really enjoyable. I really like Oxenfree. I've been hearing about this game since forever, I feel like, and I was really happy to finally play it. It was a great experience. Really enjoyed the story and the mechanics. And yeah, it was another fantastic experience. I kind of don't want... I know it's old games, but I've played it for the first time in 2022. I can't be the only one who's gonna play it, so I kind of don't want to spoil it. So I'm trying to keep it vague and not say too much, but say just enough so maybe somebody listening to this will be interested to play it. But it's definitely worth it. It's like a 5-hour long game. It's not very long, but it's definitely a game that you can play more than once, because you can make quite a few different decisions, and it's interesting to see how things play out depending on what you chose. So, Oxenfree. Really enjoyed that. Okay, so last horror game I've played, and it's none other than Resident Evil 7. So, I've been quite a big fan of Resident Evil. I haven't played the original PlayStation ones, but I started my Resident Evil journey with the remake on the GameCube, and then I've played I've played all the Resident Evil on GameCube. So there was the remake, there was Resident Evil 4, of course, one of my favorite game of all time. There was Resident Evil 0, which was meh, but that I still enjoyed because it was during my zombie years. But anyway, all of that to say that I finally got to play a new Resident Evil game, and it was Resident Evil 7. And what's funny about this is that JTB, once again, I really like the dude, so I'm watching a lot of his stuff. He made a playthrough of Resident Evil 8, the Resident Evil Village, and I've watched that, and I've quite enjoyed it. And then I got my hands on Resident Evil 7, which is kind of the first one of the two. It's the same characters, but the first game in that particular series. And man, did I enjoy it. Like, probably one of my top 5 games this year. It was a scary Resident Evil, at least the first half, because in all of those survival horror games, you start with a knife and you end up with rocket launchers. So it's always, the game progresses, but you get always a lot stronger than the monsters you fight. So, but in the beginning, man, it was scary. I mean, I know I'm not gonna sound very brave, but there's one evening that I thought, hey, I'm gonna play some Resident Evil 7. Gonna continue my playthrough from the day before. I've booted that up, played it a bit, and man, my heart was really racing way too fast, and I was, no, like, not tonight. And I've played Bloodstained instead, but I really enjoyed it, really enjoyed the characters and the setting, and it's like in Louisiana, and yeah, and the move to play in first person. I'm not a huge first person guy, so I tend to not play those games very much. It makes me nauseous usually. But yeah, Resident Evil really worked well with me. Really enjoyed the first person. The setting was great. Love the characters. Such an amazing game. Yeah, this is pretty much all I have to say, but yeah, Resident Evil 7, man, what a game. Okay, so, last category before what I call Game of the Year. But last category is definitely the biggest one this year. It's Metroidvania side-scrollers. So, this year, I've played a lot of Metroidvanias and side-scrollers, and it's no surprise because it's one of my favorite genre of games. So this year I've replayed once again many times. It's my comfort game, it's my one true love, and it's Grimvalor. I don't know what it is with this game, but every time I boot that up, it makes me comfortable in a way. And I've made a very long playthrough on my channel. I have a whole playlist of the normal playthrough, the New Game Plus, a video about the differences between normal and New Game Plus, and a bunch of stuff. And I was listening to that prior to making this video, and man, the sound is pretty bad. I was having a weird setup back at that time, and yeah, in 2023 I'm gonna redo a Grimvalor playthrough, and I'm gonna try to go for 100%, every secrets and stuff, because I got a comment on one chatter, and it was like, oh, you didn't even do, that part. Such a waste of time. And I was like, yeah, okay. I'm gonna be more thorough with my next playthrough. I'm gonna do it all again with commentary and stuff with my better setup. So yeah, Grimvalor. I've replayed that countless times. It's really my how can I say? It's like my coping game. When I don't feel quite good, I'm playing Grimvalor, and I feel the movement is so fluid. It's so fun to play. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what it is with this game. I know there's better games. I know there's better, everything. But yeah, I have a special link with this game. Been playing that for quite some times now, and I can't get enough of Grimvalor. Next is none other than Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night. I'm working right now on doing a proper playthrough with commentary, because everything I do on Bloodstained is pretty much the randomizer mode. I feel it makes such good streams because you never know what you'll get, and usually I can get it done in like 2 hours. My best time is 16 minutes, but anyway, I don't want to talk about the randomizer. Bloodstained is a spiritual successor to Castlevania. It's made by Koji Igarashi, which is the dude who made Castlevania Symphony of the Night, amongst other games. And Bloodstained is definitely my favorite Castlevania game. It's so much fun. Miriam, the main character, she's witty, she's quirky, she's just fun as a main character, and I think she looks great. I think the game looks great, really. Most people wanted to have a pixel art game, and they ended up making more a 2.5D game. And personally, I really like that. I think it works well. I wouldn't want it any other way. It's a long Metroidvania. If you do the whole thing, it's a good 10 to 15 hours of playtime. But yeah, I'm working on a proper playthrough. Hopefully I'll be able to finish that in 2023. Certainly not this year. But yeah, I've played Bloodstained quite a bit. Really a good Metroidvania. It's kind of crazy. I'm coughing quite a bit in between the takes. I'm giving myself a break at every game to be able to cough. And anyway, really sorry for the voice, but if I don't record that tonight, it just won't get done before Christmas, and I really want that to be done before Christmas. So I'm sorry. Hope I could have gave you something better, but it is what it is. So anyway, the next game is Castlevania Symphony of the Night. It's a game I've played in the past, but playing it this year, it was released on mobile with controller support, and this is where I've played it. And it's funny because I've played the whole thing. Now, spoiler alert for a 25-year-old game, but there's two parts in the game. At some point, if you make the right choices, we'll say, you can go to what they call the inverted castle. And I think I never did the inverted castle, because Symphony of the Night is a game I've played years and years ago. And I never owned a PlayStation 1. So I've played that with a friend when I was at their place. And yeah, I think I never did the inverted castle. So it was my first time. I enjoyed Symphony of the Night quite a bit, and it was super funny to see all the references that Bloodstained is making to Symphony of the Night. There's at some point like a big library that if you push on it, it reveals a secret room, and it was really funny to see that happen in Symphony of the Night. Those type of callbacks, there's quite a few. Sorry, I can't edit them all. Anyway, there's quite a few, so it was fun. One thing though is that when you get to the inverted castle, it's kind of a slog. I just wanted to get done with it, so I went straight to the bosses. Well, straight to the bosses. I had to kind of look for them, but I was trying to not fight anything, transforming into a bat so I could skip all the rooms, because the enemies were just not that fun to fight in the inverted castle. So, I don't know, I finished the game, got the good ending and all, and I felt... I recognized all of what Symphony of the Night gave to the Metroidvania genre, what the game brought to the table, what it changed. And it's fun to play, don't get me wrong, it looks amazing, still, like all those years later. The art style is really good, the music is really nice. Michiru Yamane is definitely a fantastic composer. She made the music for Bloodstained and many other games, but there's a lot that I've liked about Symphony of the Night. But I don't know, the second part I was like, oh man, I felt it was not that great, and it was not that fun to explore kind of the same map, but inverted. So still, I finally played that to completion in 2022. Better late than never, I guess. So, other games I've played, like last year, I've bought a Anbernic something. I can't remember the name of the model, but it's a little portable console where you can play old games, like Super Nintendo games or Game Boy Advance, stuff like that. And so I finally played, all those years later, the Castlevania Game Boy Advance games. I skipped Circle of the Moon, but I've played Harmony of Dissonance, and I've played Aria of Sorrow. Both to completion, and I got both the good ending. And Aria of Sorrow is very highly regarded in the Castlevania community. And Harmony of Dissonance is kind of the black sheep, the game that people hate, usually. And I'll be honest, I've played both of those games back to back. Started with Harmony of Dissonance and then Aria of Sorrow. And how can I say, without being cancelled, I really, really enjoyed Harmony of Dissonance. Even the music, because at least that's what the dev are saying about this, but they had to reduce the quality of the music to give more power to the graphic side of things, because the Game Boy Advance chip, you know, it was the same chip that was processing the graphics and the music, from what I've heard and understand. So they kind of had to chop the quality of the music in favor of the graphics. At least that's what they say. But it's kind of weird because Aria of Sorrow is looking even better and the music sounds great too. So, you know, I don't know what to think of all of this. But anyway, I felt that the bad sounding music was kind of giving a weird vibe to the castle. I felt it was more horror. What I've said when I've played it on my Discord channel was like, hey, if you'd want to know what it's like to play Castlevania on a LSD trip, Harmony of Dissonance is your ticket. This game is weird. The graphics are weird, the sound is weird, and it really vibed well with me. I really enjoyed it. And then I've played Aria of Sorrow, which is definitely a good game. And you know, when you kill monster, you sometimes you can get their soul, which gives you some abilities and powers, magic spells, and all of that. And it's very reminiscent. Well, it released before, so. But to me, because I've played Bloodstained first, it was very reminiscent of Bloodstained. This is where it comes from. You know, all the shard thing that Miriam is getting in Bloodstained kind of comes from Aria of Sorrow, where you get the soul of your enemies when you kill them. And to get the good ending, I had to go online and look up a guide because it's kind of convoluted. You have to have equipped 3 particular souls to get the good ending. It was quite weird. But I got it. I got the good ending. Both are fantastic games. And I'm quite happy to have played finally the GBA Castlevania games. Alright, so back into mobile gaming, I've played Foregone. Foregone is a game made by an indie company that I can't seem to remember the name right now. But it's a Canadian company that made that, and it's really nice. It's reminiscent of Dead Cells in the looks, but not in the gameplay. Like, not at all. It doesn't play like Dead Cells. I enjoyed it better than Dead Cells, and it's not a roguelike. It's really, well, it's light on Metroidvania elements. You know, you can backtrack and there's a few secrets here and there, but my cat is wanting some attention. It's kind of an action game, side-scroller. You get abilities, you know, like the classic double jump stuff, but it's light on Metroidvania elements, but I've enjoyed playing this quite a bit, and you can use, you have your melee weapon, but you also have your ranged weapon, and I really like the handgun, and I like using it when I'm close to enemies. I feel, seriously, because of the sound effect of the gun and how the main character, she aims it in a few different places. Even when she's close to the enemy, I was feeling like I was John Wick, doing some gun fu on my enemies. Really enjoyed it. It took me like the first time like 6 hours to beat. But I did a few playthroughs. There's 2 different endings, depending on the particular choice you make. And it was very good. Now, there's a few weird things about this game that I can't I don't have the way of saying, but I cannot understand how they can let those weird, unprofessional thing happen. And there is controller support, alright? So you slap your controller in, play with that, all good. But, like to take something on the ground, to take an item, like on the screen it's gonna be written right trigger, but it's actually left trigger you have to press. It's why? And all the buttons, instead of being, triangle, circle, or A, B, X, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, why? God, why? I mean, I remember the first time I got this game, it was like in 2020 or 2021, I can't remember, but I've bought the game, tried to play it, and it was such a pain to learn the controls, because what was said on screen is not what's happening for real. So it was so confusing. I just said, oh, fuck it, I'm not playing that. But then I came back to it, learned the control because it's not that hard, and had a lot of fun with it in the end. So I would recommend it. Foregone is very good. I'm working on doing a playthrough on my channel. Only have 1 episode done, but I think I can get it done in like 3 parts. So only 2 parts left to do. And it's gonna be gone. It's gonna be foregone. No, it doesn't work. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. Alright, so the next one is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Play that on PS4, and I've played that with my kids, both of my kids. I have 2 kids, 10 and 6 years old, and we've put that on easy mode, played the 3 of us, really had some fun. It's such a great throwback to, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games I've played the most is most likely Turtles in Time on the Super Nintendo, and it was such a great throwback to that. And if you remove your nostalgia glasses, I think Shredder's Revenge is better than Turtles in Time. The music is fantastic, the graphics are so good, and it's made by people who care about the franchise. It was so well done. I was blown away by Shredder's Revenge. And even on easy, it's not, it's not that easy. I was managing fine, but my kids, not that much. It was, there were some bosses that were kind of hard, and we had a lot of fun. It's a short game, takes like 3 hours to beat, but there's a lot of collectibles to find, and definitely more difficulty levels to tackle. Just play it on easy. So, and there's level you get with each characters, and you unlock some moves. It's really well done. We had a lot of fun with Shredder's Revenge. And to stay on the Turtles side of things, there was the Cowabunga collection that was released, which is like a collection of like 12, 13 games, something like that, that released from the Nintendo to the arcade and the Game Boy and stuff like that. And the only game I've played on the collection is Fall of the Footclan. And the reason I really wanted to replay that is that it's the first game I've ever played. I got the game in 1990 on the Nintendo Game Boy. It was at Christmas. This is what I got, and took me months to beat. Like literal months. It was my first foray into video games. And I have a lot of fond memories. I made a video about this. I'm gonna link it in the description where I explained how I got the game and what happened, but I've replayed that, recorded the footage of this. Took me, I think, 27 minutes to beat, so this is, it is what it is. When you know gaming a bit, it's really, really not that hard. But it was a lot of fun to go back and replay that. I haven't played Fall of the Footclan in, I don't know, 25 years maybe. So it was really nice to go there and reminisce what it was like. I was like 5 years old again, and it was really a joy to replay that title this year. Okay, so the last but not the least, Gris. So Gris was released a little while ago on quite a few consoles. I think you can get it on Switch, you can definitely get it on PS4, and you can get it on mobile, but it also came on Apple Arcade. And so I basically had access to this game for free, and I jumped in, and I was blown away. I was really blown away. It's a game about grief, but it's a side-scroller, and it plays a lot with the music and the colors. While I was playing it, I was saying, like, it's symbolism, the game. They use different colors that are associated with the stages of grief. So depression, anger, and all of those things. And it was a really nice game to play. I played it twice, once by myself and once where I recorded the gameplay with commentary, and I highly recommend you play Gris. And what's funny about this is I was sure that it was actually said Gris, because it's grey in French. But in the end I learned that it's a Spanish company that is making this game. And grey in Spanish is Gris, which is spelled exactly the same way as it is in French, so it confused me, we'll say. But anyway, Gris was really nice, really enjoyed playing it. Just don't have a lot to say about it, because it's a game you kind of have to experience yourself to understand. If you end up playing it, I really recommend you put headphones to play it, the music is really good, really, really good. So that was it for my Metroidvania side-scrollers category. Alright, so this is it. My last game. My game of the year 2022 is Dismantle from Tmnt. The game was released last year actually on Steam, but it was released this year on mobile, and I've bought it day one because I was really interested. It's a game where you can destroy pretty much everything. It's an open world game. It's kind of a survival game, but there's no hunger and thirst and anything like that. You don't have to eat. If you eat, it's gonna give you some permanent bonuses, but kind of have to learn the recipes and get the ingredients. But anyway, I've played it, and it's another case like Afterplace where I fell in love with the game, with how it looks, with how it was presented, with how the music was used in the game. There's not a lot of music in Dismantle, but trust me, when the music kicks in, it's something else. Songs with lyrics and stuff, licensed music, of course, but really well integrated in the game. It's, Dismantle, man, what a game. And they just released a few weeks ago the Underworld DLC, which I'm playing right now, and it's a lot of fun, man. Dismantle, everything works in this game. The graphics, the control, you have controller support, of course, because I don't play a lot of mobile games without controller support. Controller support, graphics are nice, a lot of accessibility options, and I'm not talking about easy mode, because easy mode is not about accessibility. I'm talking about, colorblind mode, streamer mode, to, disable the licensed music, all of those things. And Dismantle is my game of the year. It's my biggest surprise. And there's quite a few mobile games that don't go the free-to-play route, but Dismantle is definitely one of them. You buy the game, it's not cheap. Well, it's kind of cheap if we really want to talk about it, because it's like $10, and it took me 41 hours to get to the credits, and there was still a lot of stuff to do after that, like a whole lot of stuff to do. It's a 100-hour game, so for $10 it's like, whatever. When they released the DLC, there's a part that is free, and there's a part that you have to pay $5, and I gladly gave them $5 more, because it's really not, that big of a deal. You can get it on Steam, you can get it on PS4, you can get it on the Switch, you can get it on Xbox. Seriously, in 2023, just if you haven't got it yet, just go grab Dismantle. It's an amazing game, really. There's, I don't want to spoil it, because the lore, the way you get the lore through those recordings scattered all around the map is really, really cool. And there's a lot of environmental storytelling. And an example of that is, at some point I was exploring, and there was that deer, that spectral deer actually, and he was walking slowly, and I decided to follow him. And so I walked slowly behind him, and at some point he stopped and scratched the ground and disappeared. And so I took my shovel and dig. And I got a bunch of stuff, so that and this is one example, but the game is full of that. Like, the map is big, but not Breath of the Wild big, but it's still very big, and every inches of the map there is something to do, there is a resource to collect, there is a monster to fight, there is a secret, there is a recording, there is a paper to read. It's so jam-packed with content. It's amazing. Dismantle is amazing. Good job to the small team that worked on it. It's impressive, really. So this is it. Dismantle is my game of the year. Alright, so what's left? Well, that was all the game I finished in 2022. Now what's next for 2023? Well, I want to finish my Bloodstained story playthrough. I want to finish my Songbringer playthrough that I started in 2021. Only have 2 episodes left to do. I want to finish my Foregone playthrough. I want to do an Afterplace playthrough, and I'm just going to continue to cover games that I enjoy. The channel have grown quite a bit in 2022. If I'm taking the stats, like literally right now. And I look at my subscriber gained in the last year, I've gained 93 subscribers in 2022. I'm gonna post my screenshot to show you. It's pretty good for me, for the size of my channel. It's quite interesting to see, but I'm not chasing views. I'm not covering what's hype and stuff like that, because I just want to share the games that I've enjoyed and that I still enjoy, of course. So I don't think this channel will ever be like a big channel, and it's not my goal. I have a job. I have everything I need. I don't need to do this. I'm doing this because I just want to share the games I like with other people that likes the games that I like. It's pretty much it. So what's to come in 2023 is more of what was already there in 2022, I guess. I wish I could do more. I wish I could record more videos, but my real job and family always takes the first place, so oftentimes there's not a lot of time to spare to make those videos. But anyway, so that's for the channel. If you have any questions, just ask them and I'll reply in the comment section. If you want to talk with me on a daily basis, you can join the Discord. The link will be in the description too. But all of that aside, truly, I wish you great holidays. Hope you'll get to see your family if you want to see them. If you don't, I wish you to not see your family. I know I hope I'll see mine. But yeah, I wish you all the best for 2023. I wish you health, I wish you money, I wish you good relationships, I wish you to be happy at your job, or to be happy to not have a job. And yeah, thank you to be here. If you've listened up until this point, well, you did great, because it was hard to record. I'm trying to not speak too loud because everybody's sleeping here, and I'm still kind of on my cold, fighting a cold, and I did what I could. I hope it was somewhat entertaining. And really leave me if you want me to do things differently, because I'm gonna keep listing the games I'm finishing, so if you have any ideas to improve the formula, just let me know. And yeah, I guess this is all I have. It's definitely more than enough to make a video. Yeah, Merry Christmas if you celebrate it. I know I do. Happy New Year if you celebrate it in January. I know I do. And yeah, see you real soon. Thanks for watching. Have a great night. Bye bye.